taking receipts on all the people who continually mock and say that we ain't going to do anything. I'm taking receipts.
Yeah.
What's up, Jets fans? It's Christian from the Jets Report, and I'm back with my co-host James for the third episode of the Taking Receipt podcast. How's it going, James?
It's going well. Tough loss this weekend, but looking forward to next week.
Yeah, tough loss. It's a long season, up and down. But we're here to talk about last week's game and look ahead. So, what were your thoughts on the Patriots game, and just your overall reaction?
Obviously, really disappointing coming off that 4-game winning streak, but I think the biggest takeaway is Zach Wilson's performance. I think it was extremely concerning. It was one of those games where it felt like the quarterback was holding the rest of the team back, and we hadn't seen that because, he'd kind of been keeping the ball out of harm's way his first 4 starts or whatever it was. But this past week, he's going to do that. And, he was turning the ball over way too much, too many boneheaded decisions, and wound up costing this team a pivotal game. But all he can do now is look forward, and he can't control the pass. So he's got to do his best to, bounce back this weekend. But overall, really disappointing. And it's the first time I feel really concerned about what's going on at the quarterback position.
Yeah, it's a long season, and any team can beat anyone on any given Sunday, but it's always tough when you're on that 4-game win streak, you're at home in front of your home fans, and you drop a divisional game to the Patriots when you haven't beat them in 13 straight games now. So that's always a deflating loss. And I definitely want to get into Zach Wilson and his struggles later. But just to highlight some of the things I saw on Sunday that were more positive, I would say the defense played really well, especially in regards to Zach Wilson's turnovers. They kept the Patriots from scoring. I mean, every single one of Zach's turnovers put the Patriots in great field position. I think every single time they were on our side of the field. And the defense ended up only allowing 6 points off the turnovers, which is absolutely huge for us. Garrett Wilson had himself a very nice game. I know when Zach made that great throw to start the game, I thought Zach was going to have a great game, and Garrett came down with an awesome catch. But obviously didn't end up going that way for Zach, but Garrett Wilson had a good game in general. Tyler Conklin had a good game in general. He had the 2 touchdowns. So those 2 specific performances are nice to see. It was tough really not getting the run game going that game. I know losing Breece Hall last week on short notice is tough, and it was James Robinson's first game, but I think that definitely hurt the offense overall as well. But yeah, we can move into Zach's struggles now. It was definitely not the best thing you want to see, especially against the Patriots. You want to see this growth and development from Zach. And looking at his success in his first 4 games, the number one thing, like you said, he didn't turn the ball over. He managed games, and he didn't hurt us. He didn't bring us down. He kind of just did his thing, did what he was supposed to do, didn't do anything over the top, and it worked. It was a working formula to win games. But, without Breece Hall, without AVT, there was definitely more pressure on him this week. And I was really hoping as a number 2 overall pick in his second season, riding a 4-game win streak at a sold-out crowd at home, I thought he was going to step up. And early on in the game, I thought he looked good. I was like, wow, this might be the Zach Wilson game where we realize this is why we took him number 2 overall. This is why he could put the team on his back at times and go win us games. But as the game progressed, it just looked like the moment became too big for him almost. He had Judon rushing down his face. I think on every single turnover he threw, Judon was in his face. Judon had the pressure. And his mechanics just look so poor. Like, yeah, I don't even know how to explain it. It looked like a college quarterback, like underclassman college quarterback. He was throwing off no feet sometimes. The first interception that was intended for Ty Johnson, that was a check down, just sailed over his head. I was like, it made no sense. So those are the type of things that he's just got to get better on. And another pick, I know McCourty, I think everyone thinks he's out of bounds. It was definitely close. I thought he was definitely out of bounds myself, but why is Zach now rolling out and throwing that ball 5 rows into the stands? Why is it even a catchable ball? So stuff like that's very frustrating. I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but it's one of those things where it's like we have a playoff roster. We have 52 guys on this team who are ready to contribute to playoff success and go win games. But when your quarterback's the one guy holding you back, it's hard to watch. And it's very frustrating because you spent such a high draft pick on him. And I've always been a guy who's backed Zach, and I'll continue to back Zach until he's off the Jets. But, it's just not encouraging at this point.
Yeah, like you said, it's extremely frustrating. But I think that what makes it, not as bad is that we saw some of the potential he had in this past game. we saw some of the best throws he's made all year. And one that comes to mind is the Garrett Wilson one on the run. He had a nice one to Conklin on the run, rolling to his left. Conklin had a lot of yards after catch on that one. The one to Conklin down the seam. But those plays are clouded by the turnovers, and as they should. And it's not even just the turnovers. There are a lot of decisions that he made that, you can only see this on the film, that are extremely questionable. And what comes to mind is the 4th and 5, about midway through the fourth quarter, when it looked like he had a wide open lane to run. Instead, he floated up a 30-yard throw off balance and went over Conklin's head. And I just think that he just needs to be smarter, and he has all the physical tools in the world. He can make every throw that you need him to make, but right now it's just all mental of him, and he's not seeing the field. But I think the best thing about all this is that I think the mistakes he's making are fixable. Like, I mentioned it this past weekend, but he doesn't throw those 2 interceptions where he's outside of the pocket, and we're having a totally different conversation today. Specifically the one where he floated it up, he tried to throw it away, McCourty got it out of bounds, like you said, or close to out of bounds. And then the other one where he floated up over Conklin. Those are things where he needs to realize that when he's out of the pocket and there's nothing there, or he thinks nothing's there, he's got to get rid of it. And he has the arm strength to just launch it out of bounds. Like the one where he said he tried to throw it out of bounds and he didn't. Like, there's no reason that should happen. And so that's where my optimism comes from, is that I believe the mistakes he's making, like, those are extremely fixable. And that if he eliminates those plays out of his game, he could be a really good quarterback. So I think we saw some of the throws that he can make. And overall, I am going to hold out some hope for him, because I believe we have a coaching staff that's competent enough to help him get rid of those mistakes. But, it's still extremely frustrating that we had a winnable game like that, one of the most important games this season. And, unfortunately, he kind of just flipped a switch off late in the second quarter. And, I say that because I saw someone else say that on Twitter, that it's almost like he has a switch where that switch gets turned off and everything just shuts down for him, and it feels like he can't make any throws. But when he turns that switch on, he's on fire. And so I think there's got to be some sort of healthy medium there, and I think that this coaching staff has to help him out. Maybe give him some quick, easy throws, get him through his reads. But for the first time this past weekend, I was pretty concerned, but I'm still going to hold out hope, because I believe the talent's there. I believe the coaching staff can help him, but he needs to be better.
Yeah, I know. And by no means, I know you're on the same page as me. We're not giving up on Zach at all. I think he's a great
No.
kid. I mean, he was the number 2 overall pick just last year. He got hurt last year. He got hurt this year. He hasn't played a full season. I think yesterday was just his 17th or 18th game. So, we can't give up on him now. Obviously, the trade deadline's passed. He's our guy for the rest of the year. And I don't want to hear the panicking radical Jets fans that are saying, bring in Mike White, bring in Joe Flacco. Zach Wilson's the best quarterback on this roster. He's the most talented quarterback on this roster, and he gives us the best chance to win consistently. And obviously the mistakes, they're headaches, they're frustrating, but like you said, they're fixable. I mean, there's stuff we could work through. And the only thing we could really do is support Zach as long as he's on the team, because our ultimate goal is to win a game every Sunday. And Zach's a big part in doing so. So, we got to back him. We got to support him. And everything that he's been doing wrong is fixable. And like you said, I do trust Salah. I do trust LaFleur to help Zach and help Zach grow and ultimately become the franchise quarterback that we hope him to be. And obviously, the Patriots game was just a bump in the road. But honestly, looking at the press conference with Zach after the game, I've never seen him so pissed off. I've never seen him so angry. I think there's a fire lit under him right now. And I think he knows he has to be better. He realizes the talent on this team. He realizes what's at stake. And I think he's going to rise to the occasion. He's got that swagger about him. He's got that confidence. And I think he's that type of guy that's going to get better, grow, and really make a difference. I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm still trusting Zach.
Yeah, I do just want to add that it is kind of funny how quickly this fan base changes, in a week. Like I said, it is concerning, it is frustrating, but this team is 5-3. He had them 4-0 in his first 4 starts. So, everybody thinks this season's over, but we haven't been in this position in years. And I think that, a playoff spot is still up for grabs. And I think that there's a lot of improvement for Zach to be made, and I think he's capable of doing so. Like I said, the physical tools are there. We all know they're there. It's just about eliminating those mistakes that he's making, and I truly do think those mistakes are fixable. And so, all we can do is sit and wait and see if eventually he does fix these mistakes. But last year we saw the same thing where he kind of had that hero ball mindset before he got injured. And he came back and he looked like a whole new quarterback. He wasn't being as aggressive, but he wasn't turning the ball over. And so I think for Zach, it's about staying tall in the pocket, trusting his mechanics, and doing his best to stay in there and be himself.
Yeah, like you said, 8 games in and we're 5-3. If anyone told me that we'd be 5-3 through our first 8 games, I'd call you crazy. I'm a pretty optimistic person, but looking at this stretch of games going in the season, I thought it was going to be very tough, and I didn't know how this young team was going to respond. But we're sitting at 5-3. We're in the playoff picture right now. We're playing meaningful games going into November. So overall, we got to be happy as a fan base, and we got to trust who we got on this roster, especially in Zach Wilson. But, moving on, obviously this is the trade deadline week. There's a lot of talk that the Jets might make a splash trade with a guy like Bradley Chubb. That's the name that I heard being thrown around a lot, or Laramie Tunsil, Jack Conklin. But honestly, a lot of those moves didn't really make sense to me. I heard all the rumors. I thought they were more smoke screens just to drive up prices for other teams like the Dolphins, who ended up trading for Chubb. But the Jets did have a little bit of a lower end trade today. They sent Jacob Martin and a 5th-round pick, I believe, for who did Jacob Martin get traded to? Denver's 4th-round pick. So what are your thoughts on that trade? It's definitely a lower end trade, but I thought it was an overall good and smart move by Joe Douglas.
Yeah, I think it was mostly a product of Denver trying to fill the void that they have after getting rid of Bradley Chubb. But I think that our defensive line group is so talented, and there's so many guys that there had to have been an odd man out. And unfortunately, it's Jacob Martin, who I really like, but he is owed a decent amount of money, for a guy who wasn't getting the majority of snaps. But I thought he did a really good job in his time here as a rotational guy. But like I said, there had to have been an odd man out because we got Jacob Martin, or we got Jermaine Johnson coming back. We got Bryce Huff playing out of his mind. I know that they really like Vinny Curry off the edge. And so, I think that this type of deal makes sense. You upgrading a draft pick, you dump some money, and I think both teams benefit. But in terms of the moves they didn't make, like you said, I didn't really think it ever made sense to make a splash move like a Bradley Chubb or a Laramie Tunsil or whoever. When you make those types of trades, you're pretty confident that you're one player away from being a Super Bowl contender. And as much as I think the Jets believe that they can be a playoff team and contenders, I don't think they thought it was worth it to give up a valuable pick for a guy who would arguably be a rental. And so I think they were better off sticking with the guys they got. Like, I know everybody wanted them to upgrade on the offensive line, but we got 2 tackles coming back in 2 weeks, Max Mitchell and George Fant. And so there's only so many roster spots to be had. There's only so many guys that can play. It just didn't make sense to make a big move. So I think what Joe Douglas did was fine. I think holding on to Elijah Moore was the right move because he's so talented. And I think if you can mend his frustration with the team and get him back going, I think that'd be a good thing. Get him back on the field with CD and Garrett Wilson hopefully next week. But overall, nothing too much, nothing to complain about. I'm fine with what Joe Douglas did at the deadline.
Yeah, absolutely. The move made sense, like you said. I know Jermaine Johnson practiced it fully on Friday and still didn't play on Sunday. And Robert Saleh said it was partly a football move and partly an injury-related move. And he's a first-round pick. We can't really have him being a fringe guy because he's super talented. It's not like he's getting handed this position. He deserves to be playing. So, like you said, Jacob Martin was the odd man out. And like you said, Jacob Martin's a good player, a good locker room guy. He's got some great bend off the edge. I like his explosion as like a situational pass rusher, but we already have guys who fill the role of a situational pass rusher on cheaper deals. Like you said, Bryce Huff has been playing awesome this year. I mean, I saw stats there where he's winning off the line, winning faster and quicker off the line than anyone else in the league right now. And that's awesome to see from an undrafted free agent just last year. So, we got guys who are much cheaper deals, younger, who are making plays, and now they get more reps with a guy like Jacob Martin gone. So the trade really does make sense. And also speaking on the compensation that we got back, the 4th-round pick, this isn't like a 4th-round pick with past regimes. In the 4th round, in last year's draft, Joe Douglas went and got Michael Carter. And this year he got Max Mitchell and Michael Clemens. All 3 of those guys are impact players on this team who've been playing meaningful snaps and making meaningful contributions. So this 4th-round pick has value, and I think the trade really makes sense for us.
Yeah, I totally agree. And especially like you said, with the way with Joe Douglas and his staff draft, 4th rounder is not just a guy you're going to take and he's going to be gone in 2 years. They really find value in those rounds, and so I think it was a good move. well, you give yourself a shot to go get a player next year who maybe at a different position will make an impact. So I think for all parties involved, it was the right move.
Yeah, absolutely. But now moving forward, we got a big game this week at home against arguably the best team in football. I know there's the Eagles and Chiefs in there, but I think the Bills are overall at least a top two team in football. And we have them at home. We got a sold out crowd at MetLife. We're coming off probably the most frustrating loss all season. So, what are your thoughts going on into that game? What do you think the keys are to that game? How winnable do you think it is? How realistic that you think we have a shot? I don't know how you're feeling about it.
Yeah, this is one of those games where everybody's basically already counting the Jets out, and I think it's a really good opportunity for them to shock the league. Like you said, Buffalo is arguably the best team in the league. They got arguably the best quarterback in the league. They got a great defense. They have a great pass rush. They're good everywhere, and you don't often see that in the NFL. And so, like you said, coming off a big loss, it's time to compete and maybe make a statement. I thought I read a stat earlier today. It said the Bills are 11-0, or they've won their past 11 games in which Stephon Diggs has more than 100 yards. And so, the biggest key to this game is to be shutting him down. And I think we have a guy that can do that. Sauce Gardner's been up to the test all year, but now this is going to be his toughest challenge going up against, probably the best quarterback and the best receiver we're going to face all year. And so, I think it's important for the defense to keep doing what they're doing. They've been nothing short of awesome this year. The pass rush, the secondary, the linebackers, they've been great. So they just got to continue their play. And I think, a big thing that everybody's missing from this past weekend, and it's going to be very important this weekend, is that football it's a three-part game. You got your offense, your defense, you got special teams. And as much as Zach Wilson hurt the Jets this past weekend, so did the special teams. We missed a field goal. We shanked a punt. We let up a big time punt return. Barrios took 2 out of the end zone, got stopped at the 15-yard line twice. And, when you're playing a team that's just as good as you or better, like, you can't be having those mistakes. You're shooting yourself in the foot. And so I think a big key is to win the special teams. Defense, keep doing what you're doing. And I think we got to establish the run early. And it's time for Zach Wilson to take that step. He's got to be smart with the football. I can deal with 200 yards and a touchdown and no picks, but 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 picks, unfortunately, won't cut it against a team like the Bills. And so, yes, he's got to be aggressive. Yes, he's got to protect the football, and there's got to be some sort of middle ground there. But, I think, key number 1 is protect the football, and win special teams is number 2. So, it's going to be interesting. This past week was certainly a litmus test, but I think, they really have an opportunity, like I said, to shock the world this weekend. If they do, great. If they don't, it's not the worst thing in the world going into the bye 5-4 and getting your revenge in New England, the following week. But this is a good opportunity for them. It's going to be nothing short of extremely difficult, and it should be interesting to see how they match up with this Bills team.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you said. And in all honesty, I'm sure you're on the same page and all Jets fans are. Are we expecting to win this game? Realistically, no. But obviously, as Jets fans, we're gonna hold out hope. We're gonna root hard on Sunday, and we're gonna go make. We're gonna have belief. We're gonna wake up Sunday morning. We're gonna believe in our team because we love our team, and our team's got some special talent. And I know
That's
you
right.
talked about some more broad keys to the games. I'm thinking the way we win this game, if we have any shot, I think we have to go out there. We got to go get a defensive or special teams touchdown, similar to how we did in Green Bay. I think we got to win that facet of the game. We have to really win that facet of the game and make a huge difference. And our defense has to keep playing like they have been all year. I think they got to hold the Bills. They got to shut them down. If we can make Josh Allen uncomfortable, obviously he's probably the best quarterback in the league right now, if not a top 2 quarterback. So that's very hard task to do. But if we want to go win this game, we have to go shock the world. We got to get our best unit out on the field, our defense, our D line, our corners. We have to go make an impact out there. And like you said, Zach, just please don't turn the ball over. Please just keep the ball with our team, throw it to our guys, manage the game. Hopefully the run game gets going a little bit more. Hopefully James Robinson adjusts a little bit more and gets more playing time and makes more of an impact. But if we want to win this game, we basically have to be flawless in all 3 phases of the football. And we have to go not just good. I think we have to be great in all 3 phases of the football to win this game and go above and beyond to really give ourselves a chance. But I know it's sold out in MetLife this Sunday. I know the fans are going to be there. It's a divisional game against a great Buffalo Bills team, and our team's finally good for once. So there's going to be a lot of energy. I don't know about a score prediction for you, but I'm feeling it's going to be about 31-17 Bills. That's my prediction. I don't know what you have. I think it's gonna be a dogfight all game. I think the Bills pull away at the end. I would love to see a win. I'm gonna be rooting for a win, but this might be one of the few losses I predict all year.
I was actually going to say 30-16. It's going to be one of those games where like the defense fights for a while, they play well, and then the offense can't really get anything going, so the Bills pull away late. So yeah, I'm going to go 30-16 Bills.
Yeah, glad we're right around the same page. I completely agree. I think the defense is good enough to keep us in this game, but in order for the win, in order for us to win, we're really gonna need some impactful plays on offense, those game changing type plays. And I don't know if we have that right now. Just like the way the offense has been playing, especially without Brees and AVT. So I don't know if this game's in the cards for us, but I'm gonna be pulling for us, and hopefully we win. I don't know if you
No
have
doubt.
yeah, I don't know if you have a little like bold prediction going in on Sunday. I think Sauce Gardner absolutely locks up Stephon Diggs. I think he's talking trash. I think he plays amazing. And I think he holds Diggs to under 40 yards receiving. I really think it's going to be that type of game.
That would be sick. But I would say Quinnen Williams multi-sack game. I think he's already got 6 on the year. That leaves defensive
I think
tackles.
he's at 7, actually. It's like
Is
something
he? I don't
crazy.
know if it's
Yeah.
6 or 7, but I think he's going to get 2 this game. So he's going to get up to 8 or 9, whatever it is, and he's going to enter himself into the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. So that's going to be pretty cool, and
Yeah.
I 100% see that happening. He's a
Yeah,
beast.
absolutely. Your take's probably a little more realistic than mine. I might get smoked for the 40 yards thing, but I really think Sauce has that energy about him. Like I think he wants the challenge. He's probably has this matchup circled on his calendar. Like he wants to go against Diggs. I know Diggs was getting a little chippy with Jair Alexander last week, so I think he's gonna bring that type of energy. I think Sauce is gonna respond well. He's got that. He's got that veteran type feel about him. He doesn't feel like a rookie. He feels like he's been in the league for a while, who's seen a lot of great receivers.
Yep, no doubt. And I think, like you said, he's got that competitive nature. He's not going to back down, and he's yet to really, get exposed by anyone yet. He had a tough game against Cooper week 2, but that was his second career game. Didn't even get up 100 yards. So I'm really interested to see how he lines up against Diggs this week. I think he's going to do a good job per usual.
Yeah, absolutely. So looking forward to this game against the Bills. Hopefully we get a win. And as always, go Jets.